So, sustainability is not a Western concept. It has been rooted in our culture since a long time. It's only after the colonial influence have we lost all of these sustainable habits. Hello, guys, welcome back to genSustainable. And today I am back with yet another video of coffee and conversations to discuss sustainability. So, as you must have seen from the title of the video, today we are going to discuss about 5 myths that most people have about sustainability. And let me be honest, even I felt a lot of times that why should I make that extra effort when I am just a particle of dust on this planet and probably my efforts are never going to matter. But hey, let me tell you, every drop of water makes the ocean. So, all of our efforts do count in some way or the other, and we should make sure that we are always taking these efforts to make our planet a better place. So, that being said, you are going to be surprised with some of these myths as we burst them one by one. So, grab your cup of tea or coffee and let's get started with today's video. Let's begin with myth number one, which is sustainability is only for the rich people and the developed nations, and it's just a fancy buzzword. Sounds familiar, right? And this question comes to me a lot of time that while we are still struggling with basic fundamental issues, why is sustainability something that we should focus on? We should focus on our development first rather than focusing on all of these words like sustainability, which are not going to add any real value to people. Now, just to burst this myth, I would suggest you all to watch my videos about sustainable cities that cover Kigali as well as Curitiba. Now, both of these cities are from developing nations. Kigali is from Rwanda in Africa, Curitiba is from Brazil, and I'll link the full video on the screen so that you can check it out to see how these cities with very low money and very low amount of time which they had with them made wonders because of sustainability. And here, what they required was just some grit and willingness to become sustainable rather than money or time or anything else. So, I hope you watch this videos so that this myth gets busted at the root level. And now, coming back to the topic again, that sustainability is only for the rich and the developed nations. So I can understand from where this very thought comes from, because most of the time sustainability is advertised or marketed by brands and product as something which is very special and expensive, such as if you buy organic products from your supermarket, you're becoming sustainable. If you're buying special clothes which are handmade and hand woven from fancy stores labeled as sustainable and consuming less water, less electricity, you feel that it's sustainable. But sustainability is just the opposite of this. Sustainability is going back to the basics. So, if you want to buy sustainable food, you do not have to go to the supermarket and buy exotic organic fruits and vegetables. You can just buy the local fruits and vegetables which are grown in, say, 100 or 200 kilometers within where you stay. And that is sustainability, because now you are reducing so much of the carbon footprint to transport that particular food product from its farm to your place. So, for example, if you're someone living in India and you're consuming avocados organically grown somewhere in Australia, well, you are not being sustainable. How much the avocado packaging might be writing about it's being organic and no one is harmed, but yeah, the environment is harmed because they are traveling such a long distance to come to your table. So instead of that, if you just buy some locally grown fruits like banana, oranges, apples, which are readily available. And if you buy some seasonal fruits like watermelons or mangoes in summer, grapes in winter, strawberry in winter, you are already being so much sustainable. You are already halfway there. Similarly, instead of buying clothes from brands who market themselves as being sustainable and who use less amount of chemicals or other things, you can just buy clothes from local shops who give employment to the local citizens living nearby. You are already being sustainable by providing and boosting local employment opportunities. The clothes are again traveling less to reach you. So, now let's test your knowledge about sustainability with this simple quiz. Suppose you have an option of eating out. The first option is of a restaurant called Organic Restaurant, and obviously, their menu has all the food products which are organically grown, and all of these food products are grown in the most exotic farms in South America or Australia while you are living in India. Or the second option you have is of eating in a local home style cooked food who give you all the exotic menu from different states of India. Who do you think is more sustainable? I'm sure you know your answer by now. And that is what sustainability is about. Try to be local and try to consume products which are grown local. And the entire myth of sustainability being only for the rich is similar to how people say that savings and investments are only for the rich while the poor are still struggling with their finances. But it's true that it's even more expensive to be poor because, say, if you have a toothache and you do not go to the doctor because you're poor and you cannot afford a dentist, so you just ignore it and take painkillers, or you just bear the pain because you're poor and you don't want to waste money on dental treatment. But then after a year, it gets so much worse that now you have to extract the tooth or do root canal or, say, a major tooth surgery. Now, in this case, if you would have in the first place invested while your tooth was aching first and visited a dentist and not waited for like a year, you would have saved so much more of your money, time, and resource on getting the root canal done or getting the expensive surgery done. So, sustainability is a very similar concept. If you ignore it at the preliminary stage, stating that it will consume a lot of my resources, time, and money, and you go ahead with all of your unsustainable choices and practices, in the long run, it's going to hit you back and you have to pay double the price of what it would have taken to be sustainable in the first stage. So, yeah, this is a very big myth that sustainability is only for the rich people. Sustainability is for everyone, and I hope all of y'all watching this video take up at least one sustainable habit after watching this video. It could be something as simple as ditching your single use plastic and having a cloth bag to buy your groceries, or it could be as simple as always being cautious about finishing your entire meal and wasting nothing on your plate, or something like not wasting water, using water frugally how much you need. So, these are some basic steps that you can take in your day to day life. So, sustainability is for you, whatever your financial background is. Now, the next myth which I often get is that individual efforts do not count for sustainability because, hey, we are just a stardust in this universe, and I am just a single person on this planet filled with 7 billion people. How is it going to matter if I do anything or don't do anything when there are 7 billion other people out there doing whatever they want? So, let's burst this myth. So, every drop of water creates the ocean. Similarly, every small effort made at an individual level adds up to the entire effort of being sustainable. So, if you're living in a metro city like, say, Delhi or Mumbai or any other big city in the world which is struggling with traffic and pollution, you might be thinking, how is it going to matter if I ditch my car and travel by public transport like bus or metro when it's already so crowded and there are already so many people using their private cars that my single car is not going to make any difference? But then think about it again. Because if there are, say, 30 people traveling on the road with their private car, like one person in one car, and then we replace these 30 people traveling in the private car with a bus which has 30 passengers, just imagine how much the traffic would reduce. And I know all of this sounds very overwhelming because a lot of times these things are not in our control, it's in the control of governments or big companies. And it's very natural for us as individuals to feel overwhelmed with all of these things happening at a large scale in our cities. But I think simple steps like being cautious about what we envision for our cities to be and what our governments are providing us with simply drives whom we give our vote and how we shape the future of our cities. So now it's time for quiz number 2 to check your sustainability knowledge. Suppose you're living in a city which has a huge amount of traffic. Now, as a measure to solve the traffic issue, if the government declares that we will expand the road from a 6-lane road to a 12-lane road, is that sustainable? Or if the government proposes that we will now introduce 2 new bus services at a frequency of, say, 10 minutes each to reduce traffic, do you think that is more sustainable? And I hope you have the answer right. It's option number 2, because increasing the size of the road to reduce traffic in the cities is like loosening your belt when you are obese. And that's not the solution. If you're obese and you want to be healthy, you have to exercise and lose weight and not just order clothes which are of bigger size. So that's similarly how sustainability for cities work as well. So yeah, coming back to our topic, individual efforts do count, and if every individual takes steps at their own level, we can make hell lot of difference. And now with this, let's come to myth number 3, that sustainability is giving up on comfort and convenience. Now, I get this because a lot of people feel that sustainability is giving up on all your comforts like your car, AC, house, and going and living in the forest. But that's not what sustainability is about. And I get why we think like this, because we love our conveniences. We love the fast food delivery which comes to our doorstep. We love all the packaged snacks because they are so quick and readily available. We love all our cool gadgets, and life would be just too hard to imagine and live without them, because hey, we are living in 2025 and not the 1925, and we need all of these conveniences to live a happy, fulfilled life. And if we give up on any of these conveniences, it will feel like life has come to a standstill and we cannot function anymore, because now we are already so dependent on all of these conveniences available to us. But here's the truth: sustainability is about smarter choices and not sacrifices. So, next time when you're shopping for a product, make sure that you make a smart choice. So, it's something as simple as if you're carrying food to your college or office, you can rather pack your chapati or your sandwiches in a steel dabba rather than an aluminum foil. Now, this might be a little bit of effort of coming back and washing the steel dabba, but hey, you are still reducing so much of waste each day which we create because of these disposable products like the aluminum foil. So there's a simple exercise which we conducted in our office, wherein we calculated the impact which is created by using paper cups to drink tea or coffee in office, as compared to if we used washable mugs in office to drink coffee. And the statistics which we got were simply alarming. Now, let me tell you, this office was of about 300 people working each day in the office 5 days a week. And we just calculated the number of paper cups used by all the employees in just 3 months. And the number was about 150,000 paper cups being used in just 3 months. Now, to create paper cups, if on an average, if you cut one tree, you get 2,500 paper cups. So now you can easily do the math. If there are 150,000 paper cups being used in a span of 3 months, and one tree provides us with 2,500 paper cups, We cut down literally 60 trees in just 3 months to have paper cups in the office for drinking tea and coffee. And now, just a simple exercise. Tomorrow, when you go to office, just notice how many people are using paper cups to drink their tea or coffee. And a lot of times, you will observe that people take 2 or 3 paper cups, so you know how many paper cups are being used and how many number of trees are being cut. Instead of that, if everyone carried their own reusable mug, we would end up saving so many trees. And I do get the question here that, hey, but we still require water to clean the mugs, and how does it still become sustainable? But the water that you use can still be recycled and reused for other purposes like gardening or in flush. But the paper cup, once it is used, it cannot be reused again. And similarly, if you observe a paper cup, they have a thin lining of plastic within them, due to which they do not become recyclable. Now, this plastic lining within the paper cup is very essential to avoid seepage of liquid and to avoid sogginess. But this plastic film takes about 20 to 30 years to decompose. And because of the plastic film being glued to the paper also becomes non recyclable. So, simple steps like this can help the environment in a long way, and your convenience is not compromised. These are just simple steps that you can take in your day to day lives. So, make sure you take such simple step from tomorrow when you go to your office. Myth number 4, that only big companies or government can fix the environment, and it's their job to fix everything and not our. And it's understandable because we often hear about big electricity companies going green by having a huge share of renewable energy of solar and wind, or the state and the central government having big targets related to renewable energy or plastic ban, and we feel that, hey, they are the people in power and only they can bring the change and not us. But the truth is, everyone has a role to play, and our choices shape how these companies and governments perform for the people. So, for example, if all of us start ditching single use plastic and demand for reusable cloth bags, the government or the big companies would be pushed to produce reusable cloth bags instead of producing plastic bags. Similarly, if we demand that we want products which are produced and manufactured locally as opposed to products which are manufactured or produced internationally, the government is going to shape their policy to promote locally grown products. And today we have a lot of options to do this. We have social media. So if everyone on social media demands that India needs more reusable and recyclable products, the government is going to be under the pressure to provide what the citizens want. On the other hand, if we neglect these issues are never going to come in priority, and the government is never going to take any steps to make a difference. So our steps do count, and we should make sure that we keep raising our voices for what is good and what is right for the environment and our planet and for the future, and always keep demanding for it. So here's what you can do in your daily life. Next time when you go grocery shopping, make sure that you buy your fruits and vegetables from the street hawker rather than from supermarkets, so that you promote local businesses and you avoid the huge carbon footprint created by manufacturing and packaging these products and supplying them to all of the large supermarket chains. And coming to our fifth and the final myth for today, that sustainability is a Western concept, it's a new concept. We were doing absolutely well without sustainability, and it's just a buzzword which will fade off in some time. And I know why most of us might be feeling like this, because we are using a lot of fancy words. Sustainability itself is a word which was coined in the 1970s or the 1980s. ESG is a word which is coined very recently, probably not before 10 to 15 years. And all of these concepts seem so new that you need to be sustainable and use renewable energy. And at first glance, all of this sounds so foreign and alien, to use renewable energy and to recycle waste and to use only organic products. But let me tell you, as Indians, sustainability is rooted in our culture. So have you heard of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam? Now, this concept is rooted in the Indian Vedas and the Upanishads, and it's as old as the Vedas themselves, which is more than 5 to 7,000 years old. And since then, we have been considering that the entire ecosystem is one big family and we are all interdependent on each other, and we need to protect and preserve each other. And in lot of ancient cultures and civilization like the Indian culture or the Japanese culture, sustainability is rooted since thousands of years and centuries. And these concepts are evident from the simple practices that we are taught since childhood, like giving the leftover food to domestic animals so that the domestic animals are fed as well as the food is avoided from ending up in the landfill. Farmers in India have been practicing crop rotation systems since a very long time, and that is nothing but a practice to keep the soil healthy. Or other simple practices like considering the Panch Mahabhutas, the air, water, soil, fire, and earth being equivalent to God. So, this is nothing but giving them the status of God so that people preserve them and do not misuse or exploit these resources available to us. So, all of these traditions, which are rooted in the Indian culture since a long time, are nothing but practices of sustainability. So, sustainability is not a Western concept, it has been rooted in our culture since a long time, and we have been practicing it since a long time. It's only after the colonial influence have we lost all of these sustainable habits which we once practiced on day-to-day basis. And rather, the concept of not being sustainable is a Western concept, and the concept of being sustainable is very much rooted in our Indian culture and tradition. So, rather, the concept of use and throw material, single use material, is a Western concept imposed upon us, and the concept of sustainability is very much an Indian concept rooted in our culture since thousands of years. So, let me know in the comments below what are some sustainable practices you have been taught in your home since childhood. Wow, so we have just broken 5 very popular sustainability myths and have also discussed steps that we can undertake in our day to day lives to become more sustainable and to save our planet and the future generation to come. So, stay green and stay sustainable, and check all of my sustainability video series available on the link here.